I was going to say that we did the commentary for the DVD today, Alex, Bob, and I, and watching it. What was so funny was seeing when Josh, when Walter was proposing doing this sort of shared consciousness thing and giving Olivia LSD, and you were basically saying everything that we were thinking as the audience, which is this is insane. Right. And what was wonderful was, you know, thinking that I think as an audience, you want to go there. You want to go to the crazy place. You want to go to that insane and impossible place and see the dinosaurs and see the shared consciousness and see all that stuff. And yet, if you don't have the voice of the extreme voice of the audience saying, you know, I think often in a wonderfully kind of comedic way, and we are honored to have all these actors, but in this role, Josh, to be able to, you know, so entertainingly comment on the absurdity of the situation. Once you comment on the absurdity, you can have the absurdity. Right. And you can swallow. They
need to be given permission a little bit.
That's right.
To go on the ride. And on top of which, you touched on it earlier, when sort of in a different way, saying that it's hard to baffle audiences. I think that's the word you use, baffle audiences these days. We don't generally want to have our intelligence insulted. And one of the things that I think is so interesting, this time around for me being on TV, I was just barely on the cusp of the internet age when we were Felicity Dawson's Creek era. But people have a chance to really disseminate ideas amongst themselves now. So if you give them permission, look, these people believe in this world. Go with us for the ride. Anything that needs to be parsed in any story is instantly talked about between the fan base. And that, I think, is the most amazing part of being on a TV show now that finds an audience as opposed to a TV show before, is that people can really have a chance to really, really dive into it.
Yeah. Meaning they call us on our bullshit?
Well, yeah, and you know, and they should. I would rather be a part of a show that aims for best ever and comes in second best ever than aims for mediocrity and achieves its goal. And that's, I think, a lot of what television does, is because, well...
Very nice, Joe. Very nice, right?
Yeah. And that's what, to answer your original question, what was so great, part of the... Obviously, the Peter character has an almost infinite amount of things he can do. So that's the instant hook for me when I read the script. But other things, given that I've worked on a TV show before, is you have to think to yourself, how many stories are in this script? And it was such a detail-oriented, rich script that you just immediately, as you're going through it, your mind and your imagination is running off into other places, and you think to yourself, my God, there are at least 100 stories here. There is a whole universe behind this story that you can see it going on and on and on. Even though the pilot itself is more of film than it is a TV show, because it has a really finite ending, like you were saying. But all those little ideas are laid in, you know. But that whole speech that you have with Broyles, which I love, about Pandora's box, I think that's the perfect metaphor for the show. It's Pandora's box. Who knows how many monsters come out? Once it's open, you can't close it again. That's my spiel. I was working on that on the car ride over for hours.
Well, and Mr. Noble, Walter Bishop, I think in a way his precedents in pop culture are in no particular order: Dr. Frankenstein, Dr. Strangelove, although that may be Blair Brown's character, I'm not sure.
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil. Back to the Future's Doc Brown. Dr. Timothy Leary.
Yeah?
Who I actually met a couple of times, and I'm telling you, he talked like you. And with his gift for non sequiturs to abandon the doctors, I hear everything from Alfred Jarry's Père Ubu to some cross between the comedians Norm Crosby and Stephen Wright.
And begin.
And yes, and scene. How did you feel as you approached that character?
Thank you, Ken. They're so articulate, aren't they? I'm still stuck on his first question. What did you think when you read the script? I wanted to say, what do you mean the first day of filming? It was like, what scene am I shooting today? I want to answer that, because I actually didn't read the script until about then.
What?
No, it doesn't work that way. That's the imagination. You get sent a scene to do. And you tried the best to do the scene, and then if you sort of do it a bit all right, they might send you some more information. That's it, baby, I tell you.
Need to know basis.
Yeah, need to know. Script, first script. I didn't quite understand the last question, but thanks, it sounded really good. All of those things, I'm sure. The script read like a film. It was just so exciting to read this pilot script, which is where the question started. When I read Walter Bishop, it read to me like a dream role. In fact, there's a little story I'll share with you. I hadn't read this script, and sometime earlier I'd heard about it, and they said, "Oh no, you're too young for it." Thanks. So, I mean, yes, thanks. And then my daughter, who's an actress, said to me, "Dad, there's a role in this thing. You've got to read it." And I said, "Well, no, they don't want me. I'm too." So anyway, finally they sent me this scene to read, and I've gone, oh my goodness. It was, I don't know if you remember the pilot, any of you, but it was this extraordinary scene where Walter first meets Anna's character and Peter in the mental asylum, and he's deliciously insane. and talking about butterscotch pudding and stuff. Oh, I love this! I could do this all my life. We hope so, yes? At least for a few years of it.
That was the first scene that we shot.
It was,
too.
wasn't it? Yeah.
And I remember walking in and John sitting in this corner with all this beard on, and Olivia just pokes her head and says, "Hello."
Yeah.
And it begins.
It was so cold that day.
Oh, man, it was
Anyway,
brutal.
enough of that.
They cut the scene that we did in the cold, though.
Oh, I know. So look,
That's
it
so
was
true.
it was the beginning of a journey that... Were you talking?
No, I was going to say, though, one of the, as a Canadian, one of the funniest things that we get to do as a Canadian is introduce...
I literally can't understand what the...
But I was going to say, but I love the Ubu reference, because every now and then this character in this play will just say, "poo."
Exactly.
Just...
Maybe you could work that in. We're losing control here.